got it. I dropped my bottle on the tricycle. Okay, thank you. Okay, we're good to go. I got it. It's a shaker bottle for the protein. You gotta be careful not to drop these things. Almost at Sugar Beach. No, it's okay. I'll just take it. Some locations are not easy to get to, but they're worth it once you get there. You just gotta make sure you find a good tricycle driver who's sober. So what's up, guys? Yeah, I'm here in Sugar Beach, the land of the nice beaches. So I came out like the Philippines about 6 years ago now, and it was quite an adventure. I've been going back and forth, like, I think this is my 13th trip to the Philippines. But I want to talk a little bit about the origins of how I got here to the Philippines. I'll try to do it like in different segments because it's too much of a would be too much of a book to just get into in one video. But so expats end up in foreign countries for different reasons. Sometimes it's complicated, sometimes it's not. Some expats are trying to run away, some expats are trying to save money, some expats are doing like humanitarian or missionary work, and some expats are here for like other reasons. But I was always attracted to the Philippines. I think like the last 16 years, last 16 years of my life, I guess. I used to live in up in the Bay Area in my 20s, and I was really into like playing drums at the time with friends and stuff like that. And I lived at this music studio in an RV. And I was running on the trail one day, and I met this woman crossing my path, and she said, with a really friendly smile, she said, "Sir, be careful, there's a snake." And it was a Filipino woman. And then I kind of waved, and I ran off, and then on my way back, I saw her again, and she smiled, and she said, "Did you see the snake?" And I said, "No." So anyway, I asked if I could have her number, and she gave me her email address. I think a couple months later, we started dating and then started living together. She was actually 10 years older than me, which was kind of a different dynamic, right? It's usually like an older man with a younger Filipina, but she was actually older than me by 10 years, which for the US, that's a significant age gap for that country, I guess. She was much more accomplished than me. She was way more accomplished than me at the time, much more mature. She had a career. She was a nurse in San Francisco, and just fantastic woman, the kindest woman, just a very sweet person and a good person, a woman who helped people, a woman who took care of sick people. She took care of her family. She bought her family a house in the San Francisco area. She had her own house over in Hayward. And so yeah, she was successful and responsible. And at that time, I guess in that regard, I guess I was less so. I mean, I always worked. I mean, like I did like accounting work back then, like contract and temp jobs, stuff like that. But it was more just to sort of get by, and I was more interested in like playing drums and bodybuilding and, you know, basically more having fun those days. I was having a lot of fun those days. Those were good times. I mean, it's fun to play drums every day, but also to live at a music studio where your friend allows you to. He's still a good friend of mine, actually. He's a good man. Anyway, back to that relationship. That was the first time I had, you know, dated like a Filipino woman, and the experience was awesome. It was fantastic. We were together for a good amount of, not too long, but I can't remember now. Why can't I remember? Oh, yeah, like 3 years, 4 years, something like that. We went to Italy, had a lot of adventures. I was into like film and videos at the time. I had a different, sort of a different channel back then. I'll get into that later, but I guess the reason I'm bringing this story up is that was sort of the origins of like what got me interested in like I don't know, Filipinos and the Filipino culture and stuff like that, and wanting to come to the Philippines. I had always wanted to go to Asia. I just never had. Uh, we went to Italy together. That was a lot of fun too. I ran a marathon in Venice, 26.2 miles. That was back in 2010. That was a good time. Drove all throughout Italy. It's the first time I had been to Europe. It was really cool. It was really good. But something happened to me. Something happened. I changed. I didn't really change. Just something happened to me. It's hard to explain. It's hard to explain. I'll get into it in another video, I guess. But a lot of years transpired after that were very difficult. You know, people go through. People don't really ever know what somebody's going through in life, and we tend to be dismissive and give people superficial advice or give them recommendations. I mean, that's really all you can do sometimes, right? But we never know what people are going through, and yeah, there were some tough years. I can get into it in another video, but the long and the short of it is I started working. I was always working, but there was a little period where I wasn't there, and then I scraped some money together and I met somebody, and I came out to the Philippines. And that was a life-changing experience for me, like the first time I came to the Philippines, because it's a real sobering experience in some ways, if you will. Not literally, but it's just one of those like wake-up calls, cold water in the face type of thing, because I never really seen like real poverty, like the kind of poverty like you see in Manila, like where you get out of the hotel room and you walk to the 7-Eleven and like kids covered in dirt are literally begging for money, hanging off your clothes, and you know their parents are maybe putting them up to it or whatever, but it's so just so real. And you know, seeing people half alive just in the streets without any direction, suffering from malnutrition. And I mean, there was like horrifying slums in like Manila, you know. And there's poverty like in America in inner cities, but there's something different about this type. And I think eventually you kind of start to get used to some of that, because I've said this before, like, you know, the Filipino culture, they're like tough as nails. They've sustained a lot in history, much tougher than I think people from our culture, like Americans and some Europeans. So at first, like, stuff like that can be very shocking, I think, for a young American. And we just got to be careful too not to get too sucked into that with sort of some of maybe like these bleeding heart type of guys, because you can get hooked up like with the wrong people in these countries, and they can make your life really miserable, and you can end up giving away all your money too. So you obviously don't want to do that. But I've always said, like, foreigners, in terms of relationships, the power dynamic, I still believe that we have the upper hand. So that's why, I'm kind of calling on more responsibility for, like, the foreigners in some of these situations where they're getting scammed and stuff, and hopefully we can try to prevent some of that in the future. Because those stories aren't like they're not as common maybe as we think. There's a lot of successful relationships and people that get in good situations all the time. You can always meet good people here. And even online it's possible. You just have to be careful as well. So, it's good to hear a lot of the success stories too. I got kind of like off track where I was going with this video, but I was talking about just a little bit of why I guess I sort of got interested in the Philippines many years ago. Yeah, it's because I dated a Filipina. Well, my girlfriend was Filipina. Like I said, 16 years ago. But she had lived in Manila, I think, with her family till she was like 18-ish, and then they all came out to the United States. I'm not sure how that worked, but yeah, she did well for herself. She made a good living as a nurse and helped a lot of sick people. And she was a very special person. Very good woman. Helped a lot of people, helped her family. So anyway, it's Captain Trucker. I just wanted to talk a little bit about how I sort of got over here. That was kind of a really short summation of how I got interested in the Philippines many, many years ago. But yeah, I'm back at Sugar Beach and try to do some more videos for you. So thank you all for watching, and I appreciate the comments as always. And I look forward to it. So please subscribe. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.